Hello my wonderful besties, it's Kay. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing amazingly. And today we will discuss kodocha and the well-documented perils of girl bossery and emotional vulnerability. For those of you who live under a rock, kodocha is a shoujo slice-of-life series by Miho Abana, starting its run in 1996 and closing in 98. In nearly every aspect, the series flirts with chaotic energy. From the rambunctious tween boys, unhinged stepmother, and submissive teachers, feed into the past 2 decades of shoujo anime that have graced our mobile and TV screens, giving us serotonin. It's one of those series that you look back on sipping a nice tall glass of red wine. It aged beautifully, subverts generic tropes, and always leaves you on the edge of your seat. On the surface, kodocha seems like your stereotypical run-of-the-mill slice-of-life series, but it's created a persona for itself that has attracted many audiences of different demographics. Although we have relegated kodocha in the realm of Gakuen Alice and Ultra Maniac, nevertheless, kodocha has persisted as the most competent. If I have done my job correctly today, I will have convinced you to start watching or reading kodocha and join the fantastical child's toy bubble. My honest opinion, I love this show, wholeheartedly. I don't care how old it is, I don't care how cheesy it is, I believe it deserves a biblical-like analysis and breakdown, and that's what I was put on this earth to do. Hey guys, editing basic boy here. Would y'all believe me if I said one of my favorite shoujo series, I mispronounced like every main character's name? I do not even know how I got some of these names while I was recording. I literally said Satoshi instead of Tsuyoshi and Natsumi instead of Nazami. I probably said that wrong too. Oh my gosh. I do not have time to re-record it, so I'm sorry. You'll have to deal with that throughout the whole video. So let's start with the show's synopsis. We are introduced to the Kurata household, Misako and Sana Kurata, a dynamic mother-daughter duo accompanied by an agent named Rei and a publisher wanting Misako to finish her novels. After several scenes of Sana preparing for school and Misako forcing food down her throat, we are presented with a dilemma of rowdy tween boys. Instructed by Aikido Hayama, Sana's arch-nemesis, the boys harass their teachers as their guilty pleasure. In an attempt to bring a sense of order to the classroom, Sana approaches Aikido to stop his advances. However, the teachers have an Achilles heel, a photo that Aikido took of them kissing. In this photo, he is able to do whatever he wants and basically be the dictator of the school. The enemies to lovers storyline is the overall premise, but the story is not limited to just that archetype. With that, we are introduced to our main characters. Let's start with Sana. Sana is our happy-go-lucky protagonist who is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to achieve anything her heart desires, aka a happy family. Her whole thing is being a famous actress on a hit TV show Child's Toy and having a one-sided crush on Rei. It's very hard to not like Sana. She is very friendly, encouraging, yet ambitious towards her dreams. But she is also a normal 6th grader and doesn't want her fame to ruin those relationships.
Do you have to go to work today?
Yep, sure do.
Well, what about tomorrow?
Yeah, then too. Why, something going on?
Of course, Hisei's birthday party.
Oh yeah, right, the birthday party!
You mean you're gonna come?
Sure, you're one of my best friends. I wouldn't miss it.
This definitely makes her seem more relatable and approachable, but most importantly, inspiring. Despite her accolades and success, we are told that Sana is a normal girl. If you're ever in trouble, Sana will always be there to help you. She's an exemplary example of a young girl boss. Anyways, if Sana is our heroine, Aikido is our deuteragonist, a stereotype Rudy bad boy who grew up on the wrong side of an exclusive family. His mother died while giving birth to him, which causes a rift between his father and his sister Natsumi. Natsumi often calls him a monster, which has built the isolated, cold shell that Aikido has cultivated. He's framed as brutally honest and an asshole, but I still found him likable even then. Regardless of his cold demeanor, he is quite hilarious in a darkly comedic way.
Ma'am, may I ask you a question, please?
Yes, what is it?
Where does that chipmunk thing take a dump?
He's very tidy. You see, Morrow believes in cleanliness, so he would never do that in his own home.
That's good. I thought that maybe your head was full of crap.
Aikido grows on you pretty quickly. He's considerate to a lot of the people around him and can admit when he's wrong. He's one of those characters that reign over all the angsty shoujo boys. Yamamoto Haru is quaking, Rui Hanazawa is jealous, Yu Matsura is the equivalent of a bland piece of toast. They're all over-romanticized for doing the bare minimum, and Aikido Hayama deserves more love. This leads me to Rei Sagami, Sana's manager. Rei grew up with humble beginnings. He was heartbroken by his former girlfriend Asako, who wanted to pursue her dreams of becoming a famous actress. Sana saved Rei from going into despair and became Sana's boyfriend, and wants to repay her for giving him a new home. However, to the shock of everyone, Asako always wanted to be with Rei, and she never saw leaving Rei to pursue her dreams as the end of their relationship. Asako tries her best to show Rei how much she cares for him by seeking him out any chance she gets. Rei is very likable, he's super down to earth, and continues to provide insight for Sana whenever she is in a pinch. Next up, Misako, the unhinged stepmother to Sana. Yes, you heard that right. I said stepmother. Masako is a famous writer, and there is a huge conflict where a book she is writing about Sana will expose a scandal about their relationship. And she is so obsessed with this that you honestly think that she purposely wants to ruin her daughter's life. Earlier in her life, she married a no-good gambling addict, Ryosuke Motodana, at 18 and divorced him at 20. This sparks her motivation and desire to change herself and to become more famous than a normal person, as her attire demonstrates her individuality and sacrifice to become the best version of herself. The dark humor, coupled with her inscrutable personality, makes Misako an unstoppable force. Everyone's favorite cute boy Natsumi enters the frame. Natsumi is an attractive, famous child star who has an unrequited love for Sana and aims to protect her at all costs. He stood up for her during the controversy surrounding Misako's book and has a history of living with Sana when they were kids. This guy is so bold. He outright admitted his affection for Sana the first second they met up. Next up, we have our glasses-wearing lover boy, Satoshi. He is Akito's closest friend and Sana's helper earlier in the series. Satoshi has a habit of falling in love with girls whenever he is given a morsel of attention. This was one of the main reasons why he had a one-sided crush on Sana, since she gave him the remainder of her chocolates during a Valentine's Day event. Satoshi is not someone without substance. We also learned that he had familial struggles with his parents divorcing and him having to take on the father role for his little sister. In hindsight, however, his father isn't a complete douchebag and helps out whenever he can. This is shown when he gives Satoshi apples on his way back home and wishes his family the best. Satoshi then couples up with our next character, Aya. Aya is one of the most kind characters in the show, and she doesn't have a humble origins backstory. She is Sana's right-hand gal and has a crush on Satoshi. Since Satoshi is in love with any girl that gives him attention, the two become a couple almost immediately in the series. But as the show progresses, their love blossoms into something beautiful. Even in the segments where Sana is isolated because of her acting career, Aya always keeps her in the back of her mind. Finally, we have Fuka, who we meet at the halfway point of the series. Unlike the aforementioned characters, Fuka was directly affected by Akito's shenanigans. The girl he kissed in kindergarten was indeed Fuka, and it scarred her for many years because of her love for another boy named Takaishi. She becomes a central conflict generator when Sana prioritizes acting, which we'll get more into later. Now that we know the characters, let's discuss the show's format. Each episode starts with a theatrical bubbly opening with all the main characters dancing in unison. It's not as apparent in the second arc, but in the first arc, Sana's witty nature is everywhere. After each OST, she describes all the characters that she's interacted with, and it honestly makes me chuckle every time. But what makes Kodocha different are the commercial bumpers. They are creative, outlandish, and notoriously hyper. I proclaim these segments as Babbitt's World. In the first few episodes, it isn't really noticeable, but in the latter of the show, it becomes an entire spectacle. You cannot escape Babbitt's interventions, you cannot escape Misako living her best life while still being a mom, you cannot escape Sana's tears streaming down her face that affect your entire body when she's upset. The list goes on. When I first watched Kodocha, I was really impressed with the writing. All the characters have loads of development, and even though there are a myriad of characters masquerading in the series, you still feel like you have a personal connection with them. One noticeable flaw in the show is that it's similar to how Naruto employs filler arcs, because the manga has around 10 volumes, equating to around 50 chapters, but the anime has 102 episodes. This unfortunately leads to a man it's not like he takes over much of the series, but he is still prevalent in the grand scheme of things, which isn't my preference. If you know, you know. Alrighty, let's get into the drama, the meat of the show. I'm gonna summarize it by each story arc. As mentioned before, the premise of the first arc is to turn Sana and Akito from arch rivals to besties. During the incident between Akito, his friends, and teachers, Sana teams up with Satoshi to stop Akito's mischievousness. She spends most of the time trying to help her girlfriends out and discover what makes Akito tick. Sana challenges Akito to a bungee jumping duel, hoping that he has a fear of heights, and Sana continues to stalk Akito to learn more about him. One tumultuous Akito and Natsumi argument later, Sana capitalizes on this when Akito goes for a walk and exposes his unmentionables. Sana still wants to be friends with Akito after this incident, but he wants absolutely nothing to do with her and avoids her. They go back and forth with Sana pursuing Akito and him resisting. However, Akito starts to give in a little throughout the series and learn more about Sana and see that she's more than he thought she was. Of course, we cannot forget about the iconic Sana becoming Akito's mother scene.
Akito, you're my baby. I gave birth to you because I wanted you to live. Live for me, live for my sake, live with all my love.
Akito's father, Fuyuki, becoming ill from being overworked is what cemented Akito and Sana's friendship. The doctor returns and said that he needs rest, and we finally see Akito's first emotional breakthrough. Our next arc segues into Asako and Rei's relationship. Asako is acting in a movie with Sana, which brings up some unwanted memories for Rei. He avoids Asako, skipping rehearsals, and denying any of Masako's advice on how to handle the situation. Once Sana sets up Asako and Rei to discuss their past and the events that unfolded prior to her leaving, Rei and Asako couple up, and Rei decides to finally let Sana go. Rei and Sana talk about his encounter with Asako, and the two become inseparable, with their bond growing stronger. Following that predicament, we are introduced to another dilemma between Misako and Sana. Their agreement about revealing the truth about their relationship is reaching its climax. Sana keeps her composure throughout the promotional material on TV and in the newspapers, but exposes how she truly feels to Akito on their school camping trip. The two share an intimate moment with Akito thanking Sana for coming into his life. When Masako's book is published, Sana hides out at Akito's place and misses school until the heat dies down. Fast forwarding several episodes later, Sana decides if she will continue acting. This threatens Rei's position as her manager because he might be out of a job or a place to stay. Sana fulfilled her duties to her mother of becoming more famous than an average child, but in the end, she decides to go back to acting after seeing Akito start karate. As you can see, Akito and Sana constantly inspire each other to pursue their dreams to the fullest, even if that means that they are apart. Sana also meets her biological father, Takeshi Gojo, who becomes her new Rei sometimes. But after Takeshi died nearing the end of the season due to chronic illness, Sana learns that he was her biological father. This leads us to season 2, aka where the English dub disappears. The kiddos are now in junior high after everyone else in their class caught up grade level wise. Akito has a growth spurt, Satoshi and Aya are still going steady, and Sana is as energetic as ever. Fuka Matsuri makes her entrance in the story and immediately makes a connection with Sana. They are like two sides of the same coin. Both have similar interests and match each other's energy. Fuka discovering Akito kissed her in kindergarten is the inciting incident of the season. It causes a buffer between her friendship with Sana, since later on Fuka asks Akito to be her fake boyfriend when she goes to an event where Takaishi is present. He now has a girlfriend and the two meet up to discuss their past and how they both need to embrace the future. Subsequently, the major cliffhanger erodes when Fuka asks Akito to be her actual boyfriend when Sana is out pursuing her acting. If I'm being honest, I always found Akito and Fuka's relationship to be very off-putting, even if Fuka didn't know about Sana and Akito's history. The fact that she would want to be in a relationship with someone who kissed her without her consent is very interesting. Even though the chemistry between the two of them is pretty lackluster, the twists and turns they put us through speak otherwise. In other news, Sana is continuing her acting and has the opportunity to travel to New York for a job. She gets closer to Natsumi throughout these segments, especially when Akito becomes fully invested in his relationship with Fuka. The heart-wrenching back and forth between the two takes a toll on the audience. Since Akito thought his crush on Sana was completely one-sided, and Sana was never able to confess her feelings because she didn't know what love felt like, it becomes an obstacle course of confusion and drama. That scene where Akito interlocks his fingers with Fuka when Sana is leaving is absolutely heartbreaking. I was sobbing on the bathroom tiles. It was tear-jerking. Like Akito, Natsumi dealt with very cold parents. They never really cared about him, and Sana comforts him as she did for Akito. Some parallels to this also really remind me of Akito, and this is also one of the reasons that everyone that comes across them says they are a perfect match. As time passes, Fuka and Akito's relationship becomes increasingly unstable. Akito asks Fuka if they can take some time off so he can focus on karate. However, Fuka is no fool and she realizes that Akito still very much has feelings for Sana and decides to break it off. Akito now has a doggy commitment to confess his feelings for Sana once he achieves his black belt in karate. Oh yeah, Sana and Natsumi are dating after the New York arc, and they realize that they aren't right for each other when Sana still very much has feelings for Akito. In classic miscommunication fashion, Natsumi and Sana go back and forth, and unfortunately part ways nearing the end of the series. The anime ends with Sana telling Akito that she has something to tell him after he gets his black belt in karate, which of course, she wants to admit to Akito that she is in love with him. Sana finally admits her love for Akito, which happens off screen, and the two become married and live happily ever after.
And that's what you missed on Glee.
Although kodocha was pure entertainment, there is an uncanny veneer that starts to become more noticeable. The coming-of-age narrative takes the forefront of the story, Babbitt's meta-humor becomes increasingly more elaborate, Sana's naivete towards Akito's feelings in Season 2 are just comical. While time is currency, it expires, and there is a desire to preserve it until its last millisecond. We see Sana and Akito grow up through middle school, junior high, high school, and eventually when they become adults. The series paints the female characters as girl bosses. Misako and Sana are able to pursue their dreams, and the narrative never tells them that they are wrong because of it. Even if you aren't a shoujo fan, I would highly recommend giving kodocha a watch because of the positive chaotic energy, fantastic writing, and lovable characters. Kodocha embraces you with a very warm, intimate hug in the fantastical world of Child's Toy. And that is this video done. I hope you all enjoyed it, and this will be my last video for the year. Thank you all so much for the support over the past year of my channel. It truly means the world to me. I've made some incredible friends, and my platform has grown way more than I honestly thought it would, so I appreciate it, and I'll see y'all in 2023. Until next time, bye!